YouTube has continued to attack alternative media by demonetizing most of our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, please visit our Amazon store or our Patreon page. Links below. This isn't one I really wanted to jump into because Kevin Smith weighing in on the backlash against The Last Jedi makes a lot of sense here. So we know that the movie's been divisive. We know that the movie has had a number of issues involving people really just not liking it. And then you have a lot of like journalists that are, well, I don't know if I call them journalists, but pundits, so to speak, that are coming out and absolutely just attacking anyone who didn't like the movie. And as a result of that, it's pushed a lot of fans to kind of fight each other over it, right? And that is something that is unfortunate because to me, Star Wars should be more about having fun with the franchise and loving what's going on with it versus trying to argue about it. And here we see Kevin Smith's thoughts. So when he weighed in on the backlash against the film, calling certain reactions to the film vitriolic, saying here some people it hit him in the wrong way, in a big way. I've seen it's not just people going like, oh, I didn't like that. When they don't like it, it's vitriolic, as if somebody fucked with their childhood or fucked up their childhood. And I don't know if I'd go that far. I've read the comments that have come off the videos I've done about this. I've read the comments and I've talked with a lot of people about this who didn't like the movie. And no one's really saying unironically that they messed up the childhood. You know, no one is saying that unironically. And if you are saying it, then I really want to know what kind of childhood you had. But ultimately, when you look at something like this, it's not that they messed up my childhood. They messed with a couple characters that ultimately didn't need to be messed with. I mean, even the editor of the movie wasn't very happy with how Admiral Akbar went out. You know, and like no one is really happy with how Admiral Akbar went out. It was just this notion of what, wait, why? Like, what purpose did it serve to take him out? But then, of course, there's that line from Kylo Ren that says, you know, the past must die, kill it if you have to. And ultimately, I feel that was the message that the movie was sending. This was, I maybe always meant to be a movie that was supposedly going to be this kind of divisive thing because it was meant to kind of destroy the old and usher in the new. But why would you do that in the middle film of a trilogy? It makes no sense, and I feel a lot of it's going to be retconned come episode 9. Now, Kevin Smith here also says that he believes that promotional material for the film played a role in the backlash, saying, I think at the end of the day, audience expectation plays into the backlash. Like when you know, you're like, all right, the next movie is going to be all about Luke, and I've seen Luke in the trailer, and I know exactly who Luke Skywalker is, and now he looks like Obi-Wan, so he's going to be like this version of Obi-Wan, and then they give you a version of Luke that even Mark Hamill reportedly was like, I don't know if this is supposed to be Luke Skywalker, he's not the one I remember. And that is, I think, another part of that too. I think expectations played into it. Ultimately, expectations played into it quite a bit, and I don't know if it's my fault in terms of my reaction to the film in that regard, because I don't know. You know, my expectation of Luke Skywalker was one of a reclusive, you know, Jedi. He's gone off in search of trying to understand, you know, or maybe he's just gone off to run away from it, you know, and I'm kind of even okay with that ultimately, because we've seen from episode 3 that, you know, Obi-Wan and Yoda go off in hiding because they have to, otherwise they'll be hunted down, that sort of thing. And so we know that there's Snoke, we know that he wants Luke Skywalker, we know all of these things, but we never really find out why. Now, there is a line of dialogue in the movie that does say, Snoke says to Kylo that the darkness must rise for the light to meet it. Basically talking about the equals there, right? The fact that, the balance, the balance. And so that is, and essentially implying that Rey and Kylo are each other's balance, and that ultimately Snoke and Luke are each other's balance. And so ultimately with the death of Snoke, maybe Luke felt that somehow, and maybe Luke then realized that now that Snoke is dead, I can now let myself go because there's an imbalance in the Force. Kind of feels a little bit like, you know, like it feels like the reverse Highlander to me, essentially. But ultimately, looking at the backlash to the movie, the way they handle Luke's character bothered me. The flying nun Superman Leia scene really bothered me. And other than that, it's just nitpicky things. I don't mind Admiral Holdo. I know people look at her like, you know, SJW commander or whatever. or they want to, you know, say that the movie is anti-white or hates, you know, hates men, so to speak. And there's been a lot of content looking at it from that perspective. That kind of stuff to me never bothered me at all. Just the way they handled legacy characters. And this is really odd because Disney usually feels like they're down for legacy characters, to remain. They know this is where money is. I mean, they know this is where the merchandising is. But then again, these aren't legacy characters that they created or that came from their purchase. This is stuff that was been around for 40 years, and they probably just wanted to, you know, out with the old and in with the new. And unfortunately, it got us where it got us.